good? All right. We'll call. Wow, I haven't had this in over a year. Call this regular meeting of the Board of Finance to order. First item on the agenda is comments from the public. There are no public unless Chief wants to say something. So, all right. Previous minutes. Next item on the agenda. Would the board be okay with making one motion to approve mull and then review?
Yes.
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the prior minutes from the February 3rd meeting, February 23rd, March 2nd, March 9, March 11, March 16, March 18, and May 6th meetings?
So moved.
Motion. Boy, I don't have to reiterate who did what. This is really throwing me off. All right. Motion from Glenn. Okay. Does anyone starting with February 3rd have any correction, changes, any notes they want for any of the meetings going down?
Joe, can I just confirm, I think there was one point where I gave you some feedback on budget minutes. This is way back, we went through a few of them, and that got reflected.
It did.
Right,
Yep,
fine.
those were revised.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, any other questions or commentary or changes? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the motion, say aye.
Sorry, I thought we were just doing one at a time.
No, I'm doing them all. You have a problem with any of them?
Sorry, I do have, so the one I didn't give Jill any feedback on was the last meeting.
May 6th.
May 6th, yeah.
Yep.
So just one minor thing at
Yep.
the very end. When I provided my update on tax collections.
Yep.
I don't recall saying that was there is an assertive and determined collection being done. So can we just revise that to that there is very thorough collection being done?
Okay.
I guess you could always check the tape.
Very thorough is fine. Okay.
Yeah, I still want Linda to think that I was assuming that the department was being very assertive.
She would take it as a compliment.
She would take it as a compliment. Very thorough.
Any other questions, comments, changes for any of the minutes that were put in the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are unanimously accepted as written. All right, additional appropriations, next item on the agenda. Jim, I believe there's none.
That's no.
All right, line item transfer, request from the police to transfer $36,440 from officer salaries to police surveillance cameras in the SIP account. Can I get a motion to approve that line item transfer? Motion, Mike.
Second.
Second from Lynn. Chief, you wanna?
Well, a couple things are going on here. Is the original bid that we had on this through Wireless Design. He came in and worked throughout the building. There was some minor changes we thought were relatively minor, and it turned out to be $15,000. And I do apologize for that, not knowing that it was going to be then. Obviously, Richard does know of my concern, and I call it roll-aid generators. That it would have been nice to be able to pass out roll-aids early that the bid went over. I'm usually coming in under bid on everything when we do a project. We did add a few things in here to make it easier for us to view like cell cameras and other things that would have only been like in dispatch and maybe the supervisor's office, where actually I can pull up those cameras in my office now, and certainly when officers are doing reports, they can see what's going on in the cell block. So it did do some improved safety things that are here. I didn't expect it was going to be $15,000 worth, but that's what it is. And we certainly have an up-to-date system at this point in time. The good news is that we have the money in our salary and line item account because of the 4 officers that resigned and then the 2 retirements. So we do have a buffer there. We do have the money for it. Again, I do apologize that I'm coming back here to that, but it certainly is something that was needed. We needed to have done, and certainly will move us forward for the foreseeable future.
Questions from board members?
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
We now have access to all the cameras in the high school, correct?
Yes. Yep.
That's a concern.
Well, it's gonna be one of the things where we have that, hire coming up in January, that is gonna end up coordinating a lot of that, to be able to see that, in a more, I guess, appropriate way of looking at things if an event goes on. It's just managing technology again, and that's a challenge, because you could go in there and look right now, and it's like, all right, where am I? And it takes a little effort to make sure you got it all lined up, progressively, so you can see what's going on in these buildings. And it's gonna continue, I mean, everybody has cameras everywhere, and how we manage those, so. And also, another point to apologize on, I believe we may have double dipped into that technology fund, so it actually is good that we, I've taken it out of the, line item that I suggested tonight, because I think we went into it for the cameras, and then we went back to it for the MDTs recently. So that's, I guess, how important that account has been over the years to sort of save us in the long run when these things popped up. So it's oversight on my part to not recognize the time frame there, so this sort of saves the day.
One follow-up, I just want to check that I'm reading this correctly. So do we go from the original bid, 26 cameras, and now the revised bid is at 45 cameras? Does that sound correct? So what, I know you were talking about a little bit of additional, but it does seem like, that's a pretty substantial increase in the number of cameras. Well, what got missed the first round?
For instance, it's going to be an accreditation standard that your evidence room has cameras in it to make sure that nobody's walking out with something. Doors like that, we had to replace certain cameras when we got into it, cameras that we thought we would be able to use or not. And so we did that. We added certain ones like in the back parking lot, different areas that we felt were blind spots around the building, and upgraded those. So it's definitely needed to be done. So, and then the big thing was be able to, whatever workstation that you're on in the building, be able to pull up those cameras to be able to see what was going on somewhere. And that took quite a bit of effort to do that. So.
And all these cameras are being deployed on this property?
Yes.
Yep. Pretty good coverage.
And also, a lot of people don't realize that DWI, operating under the influence, the tapes recordings from the time they walk through the door here at the PD to the time they leave have to be presented to the court system. So we actually have one supervisor that has to download those and put them on a stick and save it as basically evidence and bring it to the court if need be, if they want to see them. So it's getting more and more of that today. And certainly when you have an arrest or you have somebody in custody, you want to be able to see what's going on, that's for sure.
Why did the numbers jump hugely? The credits and the cost, because the cost numbers, one proposal from the other doesn't make sense to me. So we had $6,200 in labor credit for doing the wiring, and I see the 6,200 shows up there. Part of the problem is that the coloring, one's black and white and one's that. But now all of a sudden we get credits are $41,713, it looks like. But I don't know if I'm reading that wrong. Or if that's because the subtotal ahead of it is 99,000. So
What he's trying to do.
what am I missing? Yeah.
He's trying to say that he gave us a deal. That's what he's trying to say, is that he gave us a lot of things for free, which he did. He gave us a PC and a variety of different things. He did a couple of things to bridge the gap even while we had the old system, which was dying, to keep that. He did a little CPR on that, a variety of different things. So I believe what he's trying to do is show that, hey, you got a bargain here, and please pay me.
I was gonna sell something to the chief, I'd show him the higher value and how much credit we got for free. Right, I'd show him the discount.
Like list versus wholesale.
Right.
And to be
The
honest
problem
with you,
is, the delta,
Well, the difference.
you only showed it on the more current one.
Well, so, and I also, I don't know, some of the costs went up a little bit. I'm experiencing and work.
Inflation is real.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
just
the-
material goods.
The cost increase I understood, because I know where costs are going.
Right.
Right away. But this was like, all of a sudden, there's another almost like $80,000 plus and minus. I'm going, wait a minute, this whole thing was an $80,000 project, and now there's another 80 on top of it. That it didn't make any sense without any background.
see, we love Richard because he saved us millions of dollars on the radio system.
Right.
And then as we got on into this, we didn't love him as much because it took a while and now the cost overrun. And he knows it. He knows where I stand right now. But at the end of the day, he obviously does everything up at Foxwoods, and their video system is top notch. So we also have that. It's a huge difference from what we've had in the past. That's for sure.
Any other questions from?
So these are both interrelated, the line item transfer is for the same set of cameras
Yeah.
as the bid waiver, so it's 36, so the additional cost is the 36,000.
The 36, yeah, 440.
Okay.
Jim used 21, and then
Right.
the additional appropriation brings it up to our line item transfer brings it up to the,
The 57.
57, yeah.
And then the bid waiver was approved, like you're saying, September 5th, 2018. So I'm just, is this someone, you sound like you have a lot of experience with him, but just to confirm, this is someone who's familiar with the system, and he's a state vendor, he's on the state approved vendor list?
I believe he was, I could be wrong on that, but at that particular time, he was somebody he's our consultant here at the police department, and I believe prior to you being on the
Right,
board,
right.
he had walked us through getting onto the state radio system, and is an expert in these communications and video world. And it just seemed that he had already been working with us on the town-wide camera systems, right, we have, that why throw in another vendor and another system and a variety of different things to sort of keep it all on the same
Compatibility is very important.
Right.
So how many years would you say you've been working with the guy?
Oh, probably about 4 or 5 years now.
No, it's longer than, doesn't the radio go longer than that?
Or 3 years.
With him, I mean.
And then he was with us prior to that, so
Yeah.
probably about 5.
Okay, I thought it
4 to
was.
5.
Just for the future, it is helpful to know whether they're state approved vendors or not, because if they're on that list, I'm pretty comfortable with them, so that's always good info. I think having worked with somebody that long.
Jim, again, my memory went in some of this, but I think we looked at that way back when he was going for the what is it, the device at the Dean's Mill School, so the school system.
The antenna, the DDA, yeah.
Right, the bi-directional
The
amplifier.
PDA,
PDA, right, so that was one of the things that I believe they required him to do.
Okay.
But then they didn't give him the bid, but he went out and went on the state bid list, I believe, at that time.
Okay, that's helpful.
And I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe just build off Bob's point though, is, we've been working with him for a number of years, and yeah, he did a great job with the radio, but, yeah, seems like the prices are going up, or a little bit of a surprise here, and I think, you need to think about after this one,
Oh, yeah.
competitively, we need to be competitively bidding these things.
He definitely gets that.
You gotta come to Jesus.
We added
That's,
19 cameras. We originally were 26.
Yeah, so he added like almost 20 cameras. Is that-
75% increase.
Yeah, is that because the climate has changed, circumstances have changed, and this is an old thing,
A few things changed that we felt that would be in benefit to the PD to have certain ones in certain areas that we didn't have to begin with.
So part of it you guys drove, not him.
We drove some of it, and including driving the ability to see at different locations in the building. That we were trying to do that a couple of years ago because because the more eyes you have, like on a prisoner or in the booking room, if something goes bad, the better off you are. So we were trying to pipe that to different areas, and that was gonna be very expensive. We'd have to run cabling and everything, so we were able to do it through the network.
There'd be multiple cameras in the cell report, right?
They're all over the place, yeah.
But when somebody's in a cell for any period of time, 100% of the time they're watched,
Yeah.
no matter what they're doing. So, don't get arrested.
I thought that was a prior easy.
It's
And
many years.
they do destroy the cameras. They have gotten up on the toilet, on the sinks, and done a variety of different things. And every once in a while, we have to replace them or do something to them.
And just in case I'm missing something, so it's $15,000 increase from the two bids but then we're doing a $36,000 line item transfer. What's the other 15 for? Or is that?
Because the original bid waiver wasn't fully funded. It was, as Chief tried to explain before, it was gonna take some money from his technology fund. That money was already earmarked for something else, so it was double dipping, and so we didn't have enough money to fund the original $41,000.
See,
It was a redo.
We love this technology fund that we have here at the PD because it saves our butt in so many different ways. But we went to that one too many times. Unfortunately, I apologize for that. Because we had it sitting there, and this project took a while to get off the ground, and then we sort of moved on in life, and oops, we decided to spend it again. So.
It does say here that you guys do all the cabling. Who's doing that?
We did it between the captain and our janitorial staff. We would never ever do it again. This took on a life of its own on a variety of different levels because we certainly aren't experts in that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you want it done and done right, and that's why a little bit of that 15 is in there because it was
A nightmare.
a little bit more.
Catch up.
We had a
But
little trouble.
it's done. I mean, there's no more exposure there.
Right. We had a little trouble in our cell area because it being so fortified. It's like a fortress in there. And to get cabling through there, an old cable, you're not going to use that. You have to run new stuff, and certain things worked that and certain things didn't. The building's over 20 years old, and to try using a 20-year-old plus a piece of equipment right now or cabling, you may be rolling the dice. So we had to do some of that. So. I'm just looking to clean this, get this off and done, and move on.
Any other questions?
So we hired 3 new officers today.
We hired.
Can we hang on? Can we stay focused
No,
on
but I
that?
want to ask about how much is left in the, so in other words, we have stuff left over. How much is left in that account for salaries because of the retirements?
It's probably walking into today was probably around 70 to 80.
Okay, so it's also not another.
Other questions? All in favor of approving the line item transfer as proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That unanimously carries. Now we have a bid waiver request for the chief. I get a motion to approve bid waiver request to change the bid waiver request approval from September 5th, 2018 from $41,464.61 to $57,439.25.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? No, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That unanimously passes. Thank you, Chief.
3 officers.
Didn't you get 3 today?
Yesterday, one's a lot taller than the rest of them.
I saw that. My God, he's gonna fit in the car?
Two of them are 14, so they're just waiting for them to get legal age to be actual officers.
But they have to go off to, school now, right?
The academy is going to be a little bit interesting because they're doing in-person, Zoom. It's going to be interesting, and it's a commuter class, so they're not having them stay there. So they have to travel every day, up to Meriden and back, as long as it's in person. And it should be an interesting.
Are they local
6
guys?
months. One was, well, two live in Stonington, town of Stonington. One is in North Stonington.
Two-wheeler grads, one Stonington.
Yeah, two-wheeler, one Stonington. All good kids. The shortest one has the deepest voice, so when you look at him and you see him, he's talking like this, so he's real deep voice, but all good kids. We have another one that from the University of Rhode Island that we hired a couple weeks ago. He started. He's already in training to become certified because he's a Rhode Island certified officer, but he came to Connecticut, so you have to do certain classes. So he's in the mix, and then we have two other additional offers of certified officers, so we don't have to
Saves
put
them
them
money.
Correct.
Those are laterals?
Laterals, correct.
So we're short, what is it, 7 spots?
We're short 6,
Yeah.
so hopefully by the end of, if they go for polygraph and psychological, hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll have everybody hired, and then we're gonna have probably one additional retirement in the next month.
Chief, who does the polygraph?
Usually the state police we do because it's free.
Yeah.
As long as it's during their normal work hours and they don't have a class running, they won't charge us, but if they have to do it on off hours, they will charge us their overtime rate. Or if we go to a vendor, there are a couple vendors out there that we can utilize and they'll charge it.
It's not expensive.
Nothing is, and then you have to do the psychological. The psychological exams, we just have to bill, I believe, it was $900 per officer.
I'm not surprised.
Don't forget, every police officer in this building has to go for a psychological in the next 5 years. So every year, 20% of the officers here have to go.
Each
But
piece
it's not going to be $900. It's going to be more like $250. But we are seeing around the state follow-ups that have to occur. So it's not just, okay, you have 10 officers and you're going to do it. You may have 10 officers and 1 or 2, hopefully not, have to do follow-up. And then finding that also with drug testing, inconclusiveness, you have to go back again and charge again. So it is a reoccurring cost that I guess is part of future at this point.
Is it hard to fill those jobs?
Surprisingly not right now. We have a good pool out there. I think a lot of people were at home and it's gotten somewhat simpler, if that makes sense, to sign up and to take the test. So you can sign up online through policeapp.com. And Eastern Connecticut does for the Law Enforcement Council. The whole state of Connecticut, the rest of the state does Police App through the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association. And they've been getting 300 online, and they've been running 3 tests a month. Right now it's about 900 a month. But that goes to every police department in the state. And they've been doing dispatchers, animal control, certified officers as well. So I had to, I'm the president of the association for 7 more days, so we had to hire a company to come in and to do all of that, get that going. So it's actually streamlined. So you could be in the military and be actually deployed, but know that you're going to be getting out, and you can take the exam. Go online, know when it is, and take the exam, and you could not even be in the country, or you could be on the West Coast and take the exam. And we're hiring an officer out of South Carolina, and he has family in the area, etc. So he went online and he signed up and did it basically over the internet, which has been good.
So it's better for you to get,
Yes.
not to have to send somebody to the academy. But
Oh.
you gotta pay them more though, right?
Yeah. But guess what? You already got somebody that's ready to go. They already have the experience. They already know about life, and you know what you're getting. And over the years, we've had a variety of difficulties with recruits and getting them to the finish line and out. So you had 6 months in the police academy, but they've already been 6 months leading up to usually getting hired. Now 6 months in the academy, And then they come out and they have to do 12 weeks of field training, and field training
And we're
was,
paying them the whole time, right?
yeah, and they're not out on their own, not able to do anything. And we have to pay the field training officers to be with them. And we've had some issues over the years with officers not making it to the end.
Got it.
And,
That's expensive.
yes, very expensive. But we're on the right track, and hopefully we're ready to roll here shortly. It's gonna be a busy summer.
So, yeah. All right, let's move through our agenda so we can get us done. Correspondence?
None.
Do we have any? No? All right, any liaison reports? SIP, WPCA, Board of Ed?
No.
I'm just gonna remind you for the WPCA of something. So August is going to, and we're going to be able to commence the diversion, we think now, from Mystic to the borough to alleviate the moratorium that's going on in Mystic. However, we're still in the process of doing that I&I study that we paid for, and we don't know where all the flow is coming from. We simply don't know. So I don't know how long that diversion is going to hold. So stick it in the back of your heads that the sewer system is going to be here sticking its hand out again, maybe for a very big number, in the possibly not too distant future if we can't figure it out.
Sorry, what do you mean by you're not sure how long the diversion will hold?
Well, because there's limited capacity at the borough, and with everything that's stacked in the queue from the moratorium and the amount of flow that continues to go into Mystic, that doesn't make a ton of sense based on the calculations for what should be coming in. If we can't, if that I&I doesn't find a busted pipe someplace or some reason for that flow, we're gonna run out of capacity in the borough before.
Right, so it's a capacity issue, not the diversion infrastructure.
No, it's infrastructure in the sense of the plant. Yeah. So what would that mean? That would mean, because we don't have a way to divert it all the way to Pawcatuck, we're gonna be back to that question that we were at 20 years ago, which was, what do we do? Do we keep throwing money at a pre-plant system, or do we finally bite the bullet and spend $100 million building, or whatever the number turns out to be, a new plant? I'll bet you every nickel in that, personally. And even if we decided to do that today, it would take probably 10 years. These things, they don't
we
move
had a few
fast.
days ago, that helps the I&I study, right, because it creates the
I think
potential
that
identifier.
we have our sort of first in-person meeting, and actually first meeting to discuss some of this stuff coming up on next Tuesday. So there've been some developments in that, but the I&I, we had a drought, so we missed the window for really looking at it. We're starting to look for real at sump pump issues and whatnot, because Westerly is doing it. They're knocking on doors, levying fines, and that kind of thing. But we have to get a handle on where the flow is coming from, because we've spent, from my tenure on that board, which is 20 years now in July, we've spent, I don't know, upwards of $33 or $4 million. So, and that Mystic plant was supposed to buy us 20 years. It really bought us 2. So, because the flows are not, developers come and they say, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Well, they're guessing, and they tend to play it down, but that's not the reason for the excess flows that we have. We don't know what it is, and if we can't find it, we still have to deal with it and treat it. So I just say this to you because, I'm like the town crier on the sewer, I know that, but, as other projects come before us, it pays to be reminded of that, because we will be looking, at a bigger moratorium potentially.
Any
It's
other?
full of good news, sorry.
Yeah, it's bundle of joy as always.
Wonderful.
Any other liaison reports? None? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.
Excellent.
So Lynn, when I was looking at houses in Mystic.
Hang on, Chief.
Jumper.
I want to make sure we've stopped our